Detailers, it's almost scaling season. Summer is the biggest time of year, and this is exactly the system you need to make the most money this summer. I call it the AI appointment setting system blueprint for 2025 summer. You guys obviously are in a position where you're getting a lot of inbound calls. Maybe you have the front end pretty dialed in and you're doing really good with marketing. So you're getting a lot of lead flow, but the issue is qualifying, converting, and booking appointments from those lead flows, especially your high ticket jobs. And this system is going to allow you to pretty much hands off start booking leads, booking appointments in a lot more efficient of a way, rather than you having to step away from jobs and stepping away from high level activities to answer phone calls that end up being phone tag and kind of like a cat and mouse game, right? Specifically coming from a certified AI strategy consultant that is specializing in service-based businesses. And I've been in the industry for 3+ years. I've seen home improvement, auto detailing. I've seen so many industries, especially in the local service-based business market. And I've really been obsessed with how can we integrate AI into them in a simple and efficient way, unlike a lot of these other agency models that would try to take you in and make it super complicated to where you don't even know what's going on, right? So I'm trying to hit a different approach here, kind of bridge the gap, and show you guys exactly how you can implement this type of system yourself and exactly how the process would work. So by the end of this video, you will see exactly how you can scale your business past 5 figures a month to even 6 figures a month this summer alone, and the exact system and how it's going to work. So stay tuned. So let's get into the main problem that I see here. So a lot of detailers in the industry specifically, they're not really doing that bad of a job with marketing, right? They're getting enough inbound traffic. They're getting a lot of people coming in from their Facebook ads, maybe referrals, and also from SEO on their website and any other advertising and acquisition channels they may have. But the issue is when an inbound call comes in to the owner's phone specifically, because you guys probably don't have a receptionist, I haven't seen a detailing office with one. The owner, if they're not available, it's going to be a missed call and it's going to go to a voicemail. So it's a delayed response. So the potential of you losing that lead and that revenue is very, very high, because the time to response for lead needs to be literally as quick as possible if we want to capture these leads effectively, right? And that's just not possible with a human, especially an owner, right? And if the owner is available, well, they're going to have to manually answer. They're going to have to give them a quote booking. It's going to be a time consuming process, right? You could be on the phone with that person 20-30 minutes just trying to rough out everything that they need and what the situation would look like for them, which can be super time consuming, especially if you're in the middle of a job already. So what's the pain here? Well, you're missing calls, so you're losing money, right? At the end of the day, you are. And if you are missing calls and you don't have a follow-up system for them, or you call them back 4 hours later, the chances that they've already found another quote or they're already working and looking to a competitor in the area are pretty high. Number two is the owner is really drained on time, right? They have to answer all these calls, which is taking them away from detailing and potentially other high-level marketing or strategic opportunities. Now, what I see a lot of times is detailing businesses have the top of funnel dialed in. Like getting traffic to your page, getting eyeballs on your business is not an issue, but converting that lead into an appointment is where the bottlenecks come, right? Because they don't necessarily have enough time to qualify the prospects independently. The owner is in a position where they're probably detailing cars and more hands-on in the day-to-day operation. So them being able to respond to especially a Facebook opt-in via message is very difficult. Now, what is this AI system blueprint? How can we solve this problem? Well, the first step is we need to optimize the capture process. Now, this is a system that I like to use that is used for multiple other industries, any service industry that gets a lot of inbound traffic when it comes to calls. So let's say a lead comes in through your Facebook ad funnel and you just have them go directly to calling that number. So you'll have a 24/7 voicemail agent is what I like to start it out with. So a voicemail agent is essentially an agent that would, if you don't answer the phone, it would be able to answer it itself. And it would be able to take a message, maybe direct them into booking an appointment, etc. That's where I like to start businesses off there, because then they can get a feel for how it would work without having to directly put it in to take over all calls. And then the second step would be advancing to a receptionist, which is where you would 100% have the AI take most full control over those calls and direct them to the next step, which is getting information for a quote, etc. So it really just depends on how the funnel is laid out. But this receptionist and or chatbot is answering instantly. So the missed response time is very minimal now, right? So now you're getting ahead of this lead and answering it right when it wants to be answered, right when they have the highest interest level in your service. And it's able to handle FAQs, pricing, services, availability. I kind of like to look at it as like a chatbot, but it's able to be a voice agent and talk on the phone. It can pre-qualify what exactly their needs are. It obviously knows about service packaging, and it can get information that they have about their vehicle, condition, etc., which can take you to the next step in the process, which would be obviously getting a quote. And then also what it can do is take messages and book appointments right through the phone. The beautiful thing about it is it's not really that simple to do. All you have to do is just train the AI agent on your business by giving it website information and then just doing a little prompt engineering. And one of the big industry trends is that we're seeing is 83% of businesses are planning to implement AI assistants by 2025. And those are more specifically on the voice agent side, especially if the owner or the persona cannot get to the phone. They 100% want an AI voice agent to pick it up, figure out who the person is, and be able to send a message or at least get a scheduled call back for later. So it's very important to have an early mover advantage here. That way you can implement this type of system before your other competitors do. The beautiful thing here is that you're not losing customers. This is happening 24/7, 365 every single day. So you can essentially be getting deals flowing in on autopilot, right? You don't have to play phone tag with clients and even follow up with prospects yourself, because this system would work on its own to do that. Now, like I said, this can be as simple as possible, and that's my goal here, is to show you the simple side of it, but also complex as well. This system can be very complex to where it can pretty much be completely hands-off on your end and actually still convert higher than you even would. The second step is systemizing, right? So how do we get these actions to happen, and how does it look on the back end? Now, the AI voice capture system needs to have something on the back end running to make sure that this works effectively. Now, this is where we use a CRM or like automation suite, I like to call it. And Go High Level is preferably my perfect platform for this. There's a lot of expansion opportunities for using automations and creating specific flows that help you automate and really track your lead flow that's coming into your pipeline. But if you guys do have custom detailer CRMs that have automation features as well, that's perfect, same thing. So it'll be able to auto schedule appointments, like I said, to your calendar if people want to book online and right away. It'll also be able to track every single interaction that's had within that voice agent. That way you'll be able to see where it can potentially need improvement, and that's also where an improvement system would come into play as well. It'll be able to expand and get better eventually as you get more data into it. It'll be able to automate follow-ups and different email sequences as well, and then you'll have API integration built into that as well, so that way you can connect other tools if need be. And Go High Level is my biggest recommendation here. I think it's the most valuable piece of this puzzle, and it's definitely one of the best CRMs on the market now. And this is the backend engine, right? This is literally the business foundation here, right? So a solid backend system is completely non-negotiable, right? Without it, you're going to miss appointments, you're going to miss big deal opportunities, and people are going to go to your competitors, right? It's a competitor's game out here. We're competing for business, and we need to have the upper hand every single time, no matter what our branding is. And you're going to lose track of leads in your pipeline. This is the biggest thing that I've seen with all these service-based businesses, especially detailers. They don't have, the backend's a mess, and they have no way of tracking what stage in the process their leads are, and they don't even know which leads they've talked to last. So they're just basically getting leads to come into the door and then just throwing them in the dumpster because they don't even know what the lead is from or the process behind that, right? So that's a big issue. And then they have no nurture system. A lot of times, some of these people are just window shopping. Maybe they're not ready, but you can also provide them with a quote and maybe give them some value up front and then get them into a nurture sequence where, hey, maybe a week later we follow up, maybe in spring we follow up, right? Where that's fully autonomous and it just takes the customer data and follows up on your behalf. And still the same premise and the same goal is booking that appointment, right? So this is a very beautiful system. When done right, can pretty much automate your whole entire acquisition process. So what does your life look like after you were to implement this system into your business? Well, you will be able to focus on your craft more without any interruptions, right? Or at least minimal interruptions. So this agent will be able to take calls for you. That way you can focus more on your day-to-day client work if that's what you're doing. Maybe you're doing more high-level strategy. You don't really want to focus on that. Either way, you don't have to hire a physical person that costs way more money to run your phone system and keep track of inbound calls. And you're going to be closing a lot more deals. You're going to be doing a lot more deal volume, right? You're going to be able to scale a lot faster because you have this system dialed in. You have a good acquisition system that you can turn on and off. That's basically a money printer in your hands. So this is definitely a big outcome of implementing a system like this. And obviously you will be able to spend a lot more time on high-level strategy and expansion of your current business. So a new focus would be more high-level work on your side of things. And one of the biggest things here is comparing two separate detailers, right? Let's compare a detailer that doesn't have an AI driven appointment setting system. So they're probably stuck around 10K a month, stuck at a revenue ceiling, whether it could be 20K a month, but they're stuck at a revenue ceiling. They're not scaling past it. They're working 60 plus hours a week just detailing and doing client fulfillment. Maybe they don't have a lot of employees and they're stuck in a position where they're working more on the day-to-day than they want to be. They have no time for high-level business strategy, so they really can't focus on growing and expanding the business and actually making more money over time. Another thing as well is their margins are too thin, right? They cannot hire any help because their margins are thin. And it's one of those things where they're probably stuck at this ceiling to where they don't really want to take that chance to hire more employees to get into the detail shop. They're great at marketing most of the time. A lot of detailing shops are really good at marketing, but they just cannot handle the lead flow and they don't really have a good system in place after a lead comes inbound. And what I like to look at it is, and this could be a little harsh if you're a detailer, but I kind of like to look at it as a self-created job, right? They're not building a business. They're working day to day and they're working way more hours than what they're essentially getting compensated for with their business take home. So it's successful from the outside, but they're trapped in the day-to-day grind with no path to scale. It's an endless path and it's something that is essentially a 9-to-5 job in my opinion. But with an AI system, scaling past 20K a month is nuts. It's easy. You're gonna be consistently exceeding expectations. Your revenue numbers are gonna be going up every month. It's freeing you up to focus on more high value work, right? And more high value and high intent leads. It's also helping you expand to multiple locations, right? You'll be able to open up more shops around the area, or you'll have more room to expand into maybe even other business ventures. You'll be able to have better margins, which will allow you to hire and delegate specific services. You have a front end machine that just automatically books appointments for you. It's going to be pretty easy to scale and delegate specific services within your business. You're going to have more time to focus on marketing and actually developing your business, right? So you're going to be doing a lot more high level strategy and actually looking for growth to where you can eventually exit one day, or you can expand multiple shops and build a franchise, however it wants to be in your world. And then finally, you are building a real business, not just working a job. I know that's a harsh reality to see and kind of set into, but that's the way I see it in this economy and how things are going now. So now you're actually functioning as a true entrepreneur, building systems that can create you wealth and can expand into multiple different ventures that you may go into over time, to where you can actually scale without requiring consistent hands-on work. So what is a transformation? Well, this is going to save you at least 10 hours a week. You don't have to play phone tag. You don't have to do any manual scheduling. You don't have to ask the same questions over and over for every prospect you talk to. You can capture more leads and more revenue, right? Because you're never going to be able to miss another opportunity or call again. You're going to reduce no-shows automatically and dramatically, because you're going to be able to have automated reminders in place to keep clients accountable. You're going to be able to boost reviews because of service, and your online reputation is going to be a lot higher. All in all, it's going to grow your business, and then you're going to be able to scale a lot higher. And last but not least, and the very most important, is your quality of life is going to be improved. You're going to be living like an entrepreneur that you wanted to live for when you got into business. And it's going to be less stress. You're going to have more predictable cash flow, and you're going to have a true entrepreneurial lifestyle. So let's take a look at your new system. So it's essentially two things. You have your AI voice system here on the left, which is a simple AI training, right? All you have to do is go in there, give it some of your business data, and then prompt it to ensure that it responds in the right way. Now, the most important process here is to lay out your funnel, the process of how you want this agent to interact with your customers and potential clients. And that's the most critical part about this whole entire system. It's easy to implement, right? But you need to make sure that you implement it in the right way to make sure it's scalable. That's the most important part. It allows you to connect API, like I said before, where you can book meetings automatically and have it run different actions, go into your CRM within your systems, things of that nature. It's also multi-channel integrational. So if you don't have a chatbot on your website yet, this is something that can definitely be copy and pasted to be on your website, have the same functionality to where it can book appointments and help people out with questions. Same thing with WhatsApp or any messaging platform. WhatsApp is a really good system that we've realized is huge for setting appointments and running AI agents through. So WhatsApp is definitely the preferred channel for a lot of this targeted messaging, and it allows you to be top of mind rather than messaging people in Facebook or relying on calling their numbers, right? So you can more so trust the text and the generic outputs of this agent. And then you have the CRM backend. Like I said, whatever CRM you're currently using, that's fine. but it's recommended to use Go High Level. This is where it gets more complex. The backend is where you have to set up more flows. If you aren't really experienced with Go High Level or CRMs in the first place, this is where it gets a little more complicated, right? And it makes sense because a lot of you guys are just in the position where you know what you're good at, right? You know how to drive leads to your business, you know how to scale a detailing business, but you just don't really know the back end. And that's where it gets tricky. Custom workflows come into place, so you don't have to code anything. It's just custom built, kind of drag and drop workflows. That's something that I actually specialize in. If this is a system you would even want to be looking at, this is where it gets kind of tricky on the back end. Like I said, expert setup is potentially available. And another thing here too is industry insights. And I'll bring this up again. 87% of service businesses are planning to implement AI assistance by the end of 2025. Right? So if you don't have this system, your competitors are literally going to outpace you in every aspect, in efficiency and growth. So this isn't just about staying current, it's about having that competitive edge, right? That will put you years ahead of other detailers and have you submerged to be the top dog. So that's exactly how I would implement an AI system into an auto detailer's business to help them free up time on the phones and allow them to book more appointments and scale past the ceiling that they're at right now. So if you're ready to start pushing past old numbers and actually start scaling your detailing business, I'm doing something extremely limited for this video only. So the first 3 detailing businesses will get access to a complete system blueprint call where we'll go over on a strategy session exactly how to implement this for your business. And then you can either build it yourself or you can decide to partner with me for implementation. So book that free strategy session below. Let me know if this video was helpful and if you want a full tutorial on exactly how to use this system. Hope you guys have a good one. Take care. And it's Ethan Halverson, and we're out of here.